My name is Susan Thompson. I'm a lawyer, employed, but I've followed a proper path and landed a legitimate job. I've been married for about 13 years. My husband was previously engaged and has a daughter, Molly, from that relationship. We remarried, but now that she's in her teenage years, she's increasingly ignoring me. I've always believed that she would understand someday, so I've worked hard both at my job and as a mother. Time passed, and when she brought home her fiancé, Simon. "I won't involve myself with you, you're a stranger to me." He said something shocking. To my dismay, both my husband and daughter agreed, telling me to leave the room and the house, claiming I'm not a real family member. Despite all my efforts, I was speechless at their unexpected treatment. It takes me back 13 years. "I want you to become my daughter's mother." My husband had proposed to me. Back then, I had no experience with marriage. Just like my mother lovingly disciplined me, I tried to teach my daughter, Molly, the difference between right and wrong. "If you stay out this late, it's not good." "Who do you think you are? Pretending to be my mom? You're not my mom, so stop acting like it. You're just a housekeeper. Just clean and cook for us." "How can you say such things to a parent?" "That's because you're not my parent." She retorted like that. I cooked for her, and she would frown at the table saying, "What's this?" "It's meatloaf." I'd respond, thinking it's a dish young people would like. "What? Can't you make anything else? It's like you only know one recipe." "That's not true. Yesterday, I made chicken, and the day before that, fish." I wasn't in the mood for meatloaf today. She would leave and then come back with a burger. Meatloaf or a hamburger, aren't they similar? I thought so, but couldn't say anything. Yet, she always wanted more pocket money than usual. "Hey, I need some money. I gave you some at the beginning of the month." "What? That's not enough. My friends get way more. I get so little. I can't even hang out with my friends. If I get left out, it's all your fault. You're in middle school. I can't give you that much. I've discussed this with your dad." Ugh, always bringing up dad. A real mom would give me money on the sly. "You're useless." "Fine, give me money for textbooks then." "Textbooks? How much?" "About $50. "Well, I guess that can't be helped." I gave her the money, but it seemed she never bought the textbooks. This continued, and when I talked to my husband, he just said, "Molly's going through a rebellious phase. It can't be helped." I was upset with Molly, but even more so with my husband's attitude. Time passed, and after Molly graduated from college, my husband suddenly wanted to rebuild our house. "What? We don't have that kind of money." "We'll get a loan." "A loan? We can't work for another 10 years. We'll just be left with a loan." "If we don't, Molly will get married and leave." "That's natural, isn't it?" "No, it means she'll leave the house. I don't want to let go of Molly. We need a nice house for that. If we have a grand house, any man she might find will want to live here." "I don't think so." "No, it's settled. You think it's okay to marry her off because she's not your real daughter. I absolutely disagree. We need to rebuild this house to keep Molly here." "What about the remaining loan?" "If Molly gets married, the young couple can take it over. If they live here, they'll pay for it." "Isn't that unfair?" "As long as we're working, we'll pay it. No problem there." "But we can't keep our current salary forever." "Enough. I've decided. Don't argue. This is not a discussion. It's decided." So, we ended up rebuilding the house, and Molly was thrilled when she heard about it. "Really, Dad?" "Yes, really. I can't let a cute daughter like you live in such a shabby house. That's why we're building a new one." "But there's a loan. We can't work forever. You'll end up with the loan." "What?" "Dad, she's being annoying. She's trying to ruin my dream. See, Molly's fine with it. You don't need to say anything. You're making a fuss when my daughter is happy. This marriage was a mistake.
How can you say that?
In the end, they didn't care about my opposition, built the house, and soon after, Molly brought her fiancé home. And now, I'm being ousted as an unwanted person. Hey, how long are you planning to sit there? You're not her mom, so just leave already. Exactly. How slow can you be? Just go. Hearing them again, I snapped back to reality. Yes, right. I muttered, getting up to gather my things in the bedroom. Alone in the bedroom, packing my bags, tears started flowing. From the living room, I could hear the three of them chatting happily. Oh, so Simon is a lawyer, and he owns such a big office. That's impressive. Molly, you've caught yourself as an amazing man. Dad, please. Caught is such a harsh word. My apologies. It seemed my husband was reassured just knowing that Molly's fiancé was a lawyer. Indeed, a young lawyer like him would likely keep working and be able to pay off the house loan. And as a business owner, he must be earning far more than me, a mere employed lawyer. I see, so that's how it is, I thought to myself. Despite understanding, the pain of all my past efforts being shattered by the appearance of this fiancé was unbearable, and I struggled to pack my bags. Eventually, I managed to stuff my personal belongings into a suitcase and went back to the living room. I will leave now. What, you're still here? Don't bother announcing it. Just go. Simon might get upset. I informed them I'd return later for the rest of my things, and left the house. From the living room, I could hear my husband and daughter's cheerful voices. Even though she's a lawyer too, she's just employed. She's no match for Simon. Now that she's gone, the house feels so much cleaner. Their words pierced my back as I hurried out the door. Suddenly homeless, I stayed in a hotel near my workplace before finding a new place to live. My new home felt empty, but it was far better than being with them. All the effort for such people. I feel sorry for myself, I thought. From now on, I will use my time and money for myself. With this mindset, I began to change my work and daily life. A month passed. I had gotten used to living alone. My husband contacted me. Perhaps it was about divorce. After all, we hadn't contacted a lawyer to start divorce process yet, so it was inevitable. But I hesitated to bring it up myself, so we had been separated for a month. However, the phone call was about something entirely different. Hey, the house loan hasn't been paid. To my surprise, my husband told me about the mortgage on our house, even though we live separately. That's because you haven't deposited money into the account. I did my part. Haven't you paid? Of course, I haven't. Why not? I don't live in that house anymore. Why should I pay the loan? We agreed to pay it together when we bought the house. That was if I lived there. Why would I pay for a loan on a house I don't live in? We're still married, so you should pay. You and Molly told me to leave. I left. I won't pay the loan anymore. We said leave, but we're not divorced. We might not be divorced yet, but we're separated. I can't be with you after what you said. Even so, we're still married. You have an obligation to pay. Unfortunately, you're the primary debtor of that house. And since I don't live there, I have no obligation to pay. Primary debtor? Yes, you're the owner and you live there. You should pay. Ugh. You have a lawyer, Molly's fiancé. Ask him if I'm wrong. But we decided to buy the house together. I opposed buying it. I said we couldn't afford the loan. But you insisted. What an unreasonable person. Won't you sacrifice for your family? For a family that loves me, yes. But you don't consider me family. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said those things. Besides, the young couple will eventually pay, right? Let them start now. He's a capable lawyer who runs his own firm. He must have the money. If he can pay, that is it. Of course, he can pay. He's a far more successful lawyer than you ever were. He earns way more than you could ever imagine. Well, that's good for you then. I just hope it doesn't hurt too much. What do you mean by that? You'll understand in time. Annoyed, he ended the call with, "What an insufferable woman." He had apparently assumed that Molly and her fiancé would marry soon and take over the loan. But even after 6 months, there was no news of their wedding. They were living together at his house, seemingly without contributing to household expenses or bills, essentially freeloading. Occasionally, he would call me, confused about their activities, as they would leave and return without explaining what they were doing. But such a situation couldn't last forever. 6 months later, he called me again, this time sounding desperate.
"Those two still aren't getting married."
"I see.
"They live together."
I heard that the other day."
"Oh, that's right. They live together, but they don't contribute to the expenses at all."
"That's what you were complaining about the other day. If you want your living expenses to be included, you can just say so."
"Yeah, I guess so."
"You should just ask them to chip in."
"Yeah, well, I've been using my savings to cover everything. If it weren't for the loan, it would have been manageable, but paying the full loan amount is tough."
"Understandable."
"Still, I was able to get by as long as I got paid. I was barely able to get by, but..."
"So what's the problem?" "Well, the company I worked for, went bankrupt." "Oh, you knew." When it's in the news so much, it's hard not to know about it. His company had been involved in a fraud scandal, causing massive losses to their clients. The employees, unaware of the situation, were left unpaid and in chaos. So now, I can't even afford the living expenses. Maybe you should talk to Molly about it. I did. I told her everything, the company's bankruptcy, my dwindling savings, all of it. So what's the issue? When I asked them to contribute to the living expenses, they said they couldn't. I can't force them if they say they can't. Really? Molly might not be able to, but what about her boyfriend? He's a successful lawyer, isn't he? Apparently, Molly's been giving him some money because his business is struggling too. So neither of them can help with the expenses. Did you talk to her boyfriend directly? Yes, I did. Told him it's unreasonable not to pay anything for living together. Then Simon started yelling. He said since Molly wanted to live together, I should ask her for money, not him. And when he found out his business wasn't doing well, he got even more upset, saying it's unfair to ask him to pay under these circumstances. He even threatened to leave if I insisted on payment, and Molly, crying, tried to stop him. They ended up deciding to move out together. So now, I'm trying to manage on my own. Can you manage? No, I'm struggling to find work at my age. I see.
I'm in trouble.
So?
But I still believe this is just temporary.
In what way?
Simon is a lawyer. If he gets clients, everything will be fine. The problem is just the lack of clients. I'm sure it'll pick up soon.
You still believe that?
Of course. That's why I'm calling you, despite the embarrassment. Can you lend me some money? I'm sure I'll be able to pay you back once things improve.
I can't make such an impossible promise.
But if Simon's law firm succeeds?
That's not going to happen.
Why would you say that?
Because he's not a lawyer.
What? How can you say that?
What makes you believe he is a lawyer?
Well, he said he's a lawyer, so he must be one, right?
That's naive. Look. Search his name on this website. If it's listed, he's genuine, but I assure you, his name won't be there.
No way.
It's true.
But he showed me the certificate.
He showed you just a picture, right? It could be replicated. Whether he has one or not means nothing.
So, I've been deceived?
Yes, he's a fake, as far as my investigation goes.
That's absurd. Then who is he?
By the way, do you have the house's deed?
Of course I do. Why wouldn't I?
You might want to check. Things you think are secure can sometimes disappear, I suggested. Panicking, he seemed to rummage through his drawers.
It's not here. Did you take it?
I wouldn't do such a thing.
Then who would? Simon?
Exactly.
Why would he do this?
He might be a con artist.
A con artist?
I thought it was strange for a fellow lawyer to insist on my leaving first. That's not normal.
But you're a stranger.
A real lawyer wouldn't say that. He started acting up as soon as he heard I was a lawyer. Everything made sense after that.
What do you mean?
If he's pretending to be a lawyer, a real one like me would be a nuisance.
Because you'd figure it out?
Exactly. He probably can't even provide a registration number. A lawyer would be able to say it off the top of their head. Only a first-year novice wouldn't know their number.
I'll ask him when he gets back.
You think he's coming back? How naive.
He always comes back.
By now, he's probably on the run.
Why do you think that?
Search the house. Look inside electrical outlets, vases, behind paintings. If he's a con artist, you might find hidden bugs.
That's ridiculous.
Just wait, he said before apparently searching the house. He found something unexpected in an electrical outlet. That's probably a bug. If he's been listening in, he knows you're onto him and won't be coming back.
What about the house?
It's probably already sold. You should check.
But I own it. He can't just sell it.
He's a con artist. He knows how to sell it.
That's insane. I've been paying the loan.
If it's sold, the money goes to him, and you're left with the loan.
Did you know about this? Are you in on it?
Of course not. This is just my speculation. But finding a bug makes it likely.
Why didn't you tell me earlier?
What good would it have done? You trusted him. You would have just insulted me. Besides, I'm just a stranger, right? Why would I go out of my way to help someone who told me to leave?
That's ridiculous. Sure, I might not have listened to you before, but you could have said something.
No one's going to tell you anything when they know they'll just be yelled at and belittled. Besides, why should I make an effort for someone who told me to leave?
Is there really nothing that can be done? Can't we somehow get the house back?
The only option is to go to the police. But without knowing who Simon sold it to, there's no way to stop it. Even then, if it's been cleverly sold, the police might not even take your word for it.
No way.
Shocked, my husband kept repeating, "That's too much." About a month later, they received an eviction notice because their house had been sold.
Help me.
Oh, what happened?
I've been told to vacate.
So it was sold.
You're a lawyer, can't you do something?
I'm just an employee. If you're insistent, you could ask my firm, but we're quite expensive. We mainly take on corporate cases.
Don't say that.
Without knowing who the other party is, there's not much I can do. If Simon were here and you could make him compensate, then maybe. But a lawyer can't do much without knowing the perpetrator.
Don't say that. It's our house.
Actually, it's not. You bought that house without me. It's not mine. Besides, I don't live there.
Why are you so cold? We're family.
You and Molly made me cold by kicking me out. I've accepted that we're strangers now.
That's just what you think. I never meant it to go that far. I just thought that since Simon said he was a lawyer.
You thought with Simon around, even if I wasn't there, the house loan would get paid. And since Molly didn't like me, her mood would improve if I left, right?
That's...
Did you really think I wouldn't understand that?
It's not like that. I was just thinking of Molly at that time. You're important to me, really.
Lies. I know you think Molly is the most important. No matter what you say now, my feelings won't change.
Please, help me. You're the only one I can turn to.
Unfortunately, I have no intention of helping. Besides, can you even afford the lawyer fees? It's not like they're cheap.
But family rates. Or you could handle it personally, then it wouldn't be an issue.
No. Why should I do anything for you? Consult another lawyer.
What are we supposed to do then?
Oh right, That reminds me, let's finalize our divorce.
Divorce?
Yes, we're strangers according to you. Plus, I'm just a fake mother. There's no need for us to stay married.
That's crazy. I'm suffering here.
That's your own doing. You underestimated women, and now you're paying the price. I'll send you the divorce papers. If you don't agree with them, I'll take legal action. And if you refuse to divorce, I'll claim alimony. Consider that.
Why alimony?
Because you ridiculed and expelled me while we were married. It's compensation for the mental anguish. And I'll also claim my share of the assets we accumulated together. Even if the house was scammed away, that's on you, so I'll claim half of its value. Think it over.
That's ridiculous.
Utterly defeated, he fell into despair. Serves you right. Eventually, it was confirmed by the police that Simon was a fraudster, but the house was never recovered. My ex-husband and Molly had to leave, with only the loan remaining. My ex-husband asked Molly to pay half of it. However, Molly, who is selfish by nature, yelled at her ex-husband, saying, "Why do I have to pay the loan when I don't even have a house?"
You were also happy to have a new house, weren't you?
I was happy, but I didn't think it would turn out like this. It was your decision, so you should pay for it. She moved out on her own, cutting ties with him. Despite his efforts, my ex-husband couldn't find a job and resorted to multiple jobs, but it was still not enough. Since I'm living alone anyway, maybe I should move somewhere cheaper. Resigned to his fate, he moved into a rundown one-room apartment. To make ends meet, he started working multiple part-time jobs, which took a toll on his health. Additionally, because he didn't sign the divorce papers I sent, he had to pay alimony and property settlement, forcing him to borrow from consumer finance companies. As a result, his debt ballooned to an unmanageable level. It's over. There's nothing I can do. Ultimately, he chose to file for bankruptcy and is now living a bare minimum life. As for me, leaving that house was the catalyst for starting my own law firm. Now, I spend my days running around helping those in need, living a fulfilling life.